Al-Aqsa might be on the verge of changing forever. This is Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in occupied East Jerusalem, one of Islam's holiest sites. For centuries, Muslims have overseen and administered this sacred space, but under a proposed US-Israeli plan, that could change. Today, Al-Aqsa is administered by the Islamic Waqf, a Jordanian-backed body that since 1967 oversees everything from maintenance and repairs to staffing and religious affairs. But under the reported proposal, that authority would end. According to multiple sources who spoke to MEE, the US and Israel want to strip Jordan of its historical role as custodian of Al-Aqsa Mosque and replace it with a new body created by the Israeli government. They're proposing that this area right here be transformed into a multi-faith center and major tourist destination open to all three Abrahamic religions. Jews would be granted equal access to the site, and large group Jewish prayer would officially be allowed. Israel would also have a major say over the appointment of imams, preachers, and senior mosque officials, as well as influence over the content of Friday sermons. So why does this matter? Al-Aqsa is one of the most important religious sites in Islam and a powerful symbol of Palestinian identity and connection to Jerusalem. Many fear that changes to the site's administration could further expand Israeli control over East Jerusalem, raising fears that Palestinians could lose access to both their holy sites and their land altogether.
والقدس يعني كتير حزينة ما في زوار كتير بحكي لك يعني حتى الطريق كلها خوف ما حد ما نزلنا الباص لهلا يمكن 1000 جندي كتير خايفين.
Let's take a closer look at the changing landscape of Al-Aqsa and its status quo. So the concept of who controls Al-Aqsa, known as the status quo, has much older roots and dates back to an 1852 Ottoman decree. This froze control over Jerusalem's holy sites and was established to prevent disputes between different religious communities. This idea continued after the creation of Israel in 1948, where East Jerusalem, including Al-Aqsa Mosque, came under Jordanian control. Even after Israel occupied East Jerusalem during the 1967 Six-Day War, Jordan retained a special role as custodian of the city's Islamic holy sites. The Hashemite monarchy extends beyond Al-Aqsa, as Jordan is also custodian of Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre and Church of Ascension, and has a say in the appointment of the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem. For Jews, the site is known as the Temple Mount, where many believe two ancient Jewish temples once stood. The temple built by King Solomon, which was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the Second Temple destroyed by the Romans. Now, according to the status quo, the Islamic Waqf administers the mosque compound, while Israel controls external security. At Al-Aqsa, the arrangement meant that Muslims could worship at the site, while non-Muslims could visit during specific hours, but were not permitted to pray there. But over the years, that arrangement has steadily eroded, and Israeli control has amplified. Israeli police raids inside the mosque compound, increasing visits by ultra-nationalist Jewish activists, and repeated calls by Israeli ministers for Jewish prayer rights at the site is changing the status quo. Since 2003, Israeli authorities have increasingly allowed Jewish visitors and settlers to enter the compound without the approval of the Islamic Waqf. Now, at the same time, restrictions on Palestinian worshippers have grown, while Waqf officials say Israel has made it harder for the trust to carry out essential maintenance and repairs at the site. Far-right Israeli politicians have also pushed for greater Jewish control over the site. In 2024, Israel National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir publicly called for the construction of a synagogue within the compound of Al-Aqsa.
אני צריך גם להגיד ביושר, יש התקדמות מאוד מאוד גדולה כאן במשילות, בריבונות, תמונות של יהודים שמתפללים, כמו שאמרתי, המדיניות שלנו היא לאפשר תפילה.
The changes aren't just impacting Al-Aqsa Mosque itself, but also the streets and gates surrounding the compound, including this road known as Bab el-Silsila, or Chain Gate. It's one of the main routes leading directly to Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Western Wall, and sits close to the Christian pilgrimage route known as the Via Dolorosa. Israeli ministers recently approved the creation of an inter-ministerial team to examine the implementation of historic expropriation orders in the area around Chain Gate. Now, it's significant for two reasons. Firstly, this is one of the main access routes used by the Islamic Waqf. But Israeli authorities have now revoked permits for around 30 senior Waqf employees from the occupied West Bank, making it harder for the trust to carry out its work. And secondly, the route is lined with Palestinian homes, shops, Islamic schools, and historic buildings dating back to the Mamluk and Ottoman eras. Now the Israeli government is advancing plans to take control of properties along this road, saying it wants to create what it calls a continuous urban space linking the Jewish quarter, the Western Wall, and other parts of the Old City. Israeli officials and Hebrew media have described the move as part of efforts to strengthen Israeli sovereignty in the Old City and secure routes connecting Jaffa Gates, the Jewish quarter, and the Western Wall. Palestinians argue that the plan is aimed at Judaizing the city and expanding Israeli control over one of the most important approaches to Al-Aqsa Mosque. And for many Palestinians, they point to another holy site as a warning of what could come next. And that site is found here, 30 kilometers south of Jerusalem. This is the Ibrahimi Mosque in Hebron.
At dawn, in the cave of the patriarch, sacred to both Arabs and Jews, Baruch Goldstein opened fire with an automatic rifle.
In 1994, an Israeli settler, Baruch Goldstein, massacred 29 Palestinian worshippers. Israel imposed severe restrictions on the site and divided it between Muslim and Jewish worshippers. Today, 63% of the compound is allocated for Jewish prayer and 37% for Muslim worship, despite the site being revered by Muslims, Christians, and Jews alike as the burial place of the Prophet Abraham and other patriarchs. For many Palestinians, this is why the proposed changes to the status quo Al-Aqsa has sparked alarm. They fear that the changes would lead to the reshape of the religious and political character of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound and erase Palestinian identity altogether. So what happens if Jordan loses its role? So Jordan is unlikely to challenge the proposal alone. According to Gulf sources who spoke to MEE, Amman would likely rely on support from regional allies, particularly Saudi Arabia. The sources said Riyadh is unlikely to remain silent if Jordan's custodianship comes under threat, reflecting the importance of Jerusalem's holy sites across the region. The issue could also test relations with countries such as the UAE and Bahrain, both of which normalized ties with Israel under the 2020 Abraham Accords and steadily deepened political, economic, and security ties with Israel, even as regional anger over Israel's actions in Jerusalem and Gaza has intensified. For decades, the status quo at Al-Aqsa has survived wars, uprising, and political upheaval, and it now may be facing its most significant challenge yet.